Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of That Game Show. Today, what I'm going to do, we're going to review a couple of games of mine, actually. But there's a strategy that's been popping up recently in the Protoss, pretty much, I guess, versus a lot of things matchup. Protoss versus, mostly PvT, I believe, is what the build comes from. But it's pretty good in a lot of other things, or a lot of other matchups. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at a few games, and this build that is interesting is a lot of Immortal, like an Immortal Gateway kind of composition. And I know that Day9's been talking a lot about this, and he kind of goes under the general statement. He follows the general statement that it's a good way to execute this build, I guess. Or he says one of the biggest problems that Protoss is having these days, and one of the biggest mistakes that they're having, is that they are always making gateway units. They're always all the gateways are always building something, and so his suggestion, or like the optimal way to, I guess, remedy that, is having a robotics facility always being chrono boosted out with Immortals, having idle gateways for a long time, and using them for necessary warp-ins, and then or possibly like saving up a lot of chrono boosts and having those for defensive warp-ins. But I do agree that that's a big problem, that having constantly warping in units is a big issue, and just having not, I guess, optimal units, the optimal strength and composition of units to defend a lot of things. But having Immortals generally Immortals are actually really powerful units, believe it or not. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at this first game here. It's on Typhoon Peaks, and it's a ZPC. I guess is the player, the Zerg player. We're just going to take a look and see. I like to go for a 4 warp gate Immortal build, and generally tend to do a push out with 2 to 3 Immortals, which is pretty good. So we're on Typhoon Peak, spotting at the bottom. Right here is ZPC, and right here is myself. And we're actually just, I like keeping the APM tab open just to see, but we're gonna we're gonna blaze through this actually a little bit. We're actually gonna keep the production tab open. We're gonna ×4 this guy, see what we got here. So first thing I definitely do is pylon on 9. When you're playing a Zerg opponent, you kind of want to get an early wall in, just in case you scout the wrong direction like I did here. I scouted him last, so having this nice wall off is good. Gets you a few units up in case of 6 pools, in case of early ling pressure. So looking over here, we got pool, and I guess this is the optimal time. Really quick pool and gas, so it looks like he's going to be going for maybe speed or something like that. No second guess yet. My probe gets there, and we see the Roach Warren here. So that's the biggest indication for me to go Immortals, because Immortal, if you scout the Roach Warren, if you go Immortal, instantly you see here I throw down a Cybernetics core even before my second gateway. But going Immortals is a really great way to hold off Roach pushes, because Immortals wreck through all that. So we see here he's moving out with actually not that many units, a couple of Roaches here. He's already got his Overlords just chilling out, and I think he's just consistently reinforcing with Roaches here. So I think he only sees his initial first 2 defense here, plus with these Stalkers. And I believe there we go. So first engagement, just 1 Immortal is enough to just wreck a vast amount of these Roaches. Having these Stalkers here wrecks a lot more, and so we can see the rest of these 4 gates are building, and voila. Then we pull back here, and we see Immortals are consistently being built, or should be consistently being built. There we go. Should be getting built soon. There we go. Immortal. And so we have this. So here, we're actually gonna pause it for a second here. So here we go at the 9 minute 15 second mark. We have 5 Stalkers for Sentries, and 1 Immortal. Second one is just about to pop. This composition's really solid. You have your Sentries for defensive, your force field splitting up the army, and you have the Stalkers to do some support damage, and you have the Immortals just wrecking havoc. I think that this could have been probably doing a little bit more. Maybe I could have thrown in a second Robo and had a double Immortal production. But we're going to actually go back down to ×2 because we're going to get to the engagement here. So as the second Immortal pops here, I believe this is when I move out. There's the third Immortal coming up, getting rallied. Should be getting rallied soon. I don't know if I do it here. So he's got all these Overlords scouting out. I think he's going to do actually a second push. He's coming up with Banelings here. So what he sees is, these 2 Immortal, 5 Stalker, 4 Sentry, little force here is going to be moving out. The third Immortal is coming up behind. And then I warp in a few more Stalkers and another Sentry. So this is a tiny little force for this mark. But we did lose a lot at the beginning, and he did lose a lot actually as well at the beginnings here. So here we go is the first engagement, force fields, and he nails down a couple of things. But obviously this is going to be enough to wreck that force. As we keep moving up, here we see here's his units. They're pulling back up to the choke. As we see, here we go. No force fields really, but 3 Immortals is enough to wreck so many roaches. And there's his GG. Looking over at what he had a lot. He had a good amount of drones. He should have actually probably had a second gas up. He should have got the second gas. But Baneling Immortal, this probably wasn't even the best idea either, getting this Baneling nest. Because 1 Immortal shot can detonate the Banelings really hardcore. So having this Roachhorn and having these Zerglings, I think he probably could have put a little bit more resources instead of getting the Baneling nest, going for a little bit more maybe roaches, or instead getting a hive and going into mutas, because that actually that would have crushed this force actually if he went a lot of mutas, because these can't shoot up. But what's nice about the Immortal here, so we're looking at, they do 22 damage normally, 55 versus armored, and that's an insane amount of damage. If we look at a roach has 145 HP. If we just do a little bit of simple math here, which I actually need to get a calculator for, 55 times 3 is 165. These Immortals can one-shot these roaches. 3 Immortals can one-shot a roach. On top of this damage, 15 versus armored, so all of these, focusing down on 1 roach is an instant death, no matter what, even with just 1 Immortal. Immortals are armored units. Or are they armored? Yeah, they should be armored. Yeah, they're armored units. They have 1 armor. These guys do just plain 16 damage. They don't really get any advantages. But this composition will just wreck here, because you get a lot of range on these guys, and you force field them properly. These guys have a range of 6. These guys have a range of 4. If you force field these properly and you move up just enough, you can get enough shots off on these guys to kill them off before they even get to you. Same with Stalkers, actually. Stalkers have a range of 6, so these guys can really be shooting from the back. Your Sentries have a range of 5. They still outrange these guys. So if you have them out, spread out in a nice line, force fields here, and you have your roaches just kind of back here, you can still hit them. They cannot hit you. So that's just one game we're looking at here. I'm going to go into the next replay. The second one is on the Shattered Temple versus a Protoss player. So we're gonna see. So I played all of the matchups just recently on the ladder using this same build, and I've won a lot against Protoss and a lot against Zerg, and not so much against the Terran. But the Terran's a little bit difficult to deal with, and I didn't execute my builds properly as I could have. But go APM spam. We're gonna go ×4. This is kind of a blah opening. Actually, we're gonna try ×8 it to where there's anything of interest here. Pylon started. My pylon started. My pylon's actually before his. My gateway's before his. So obviously he was coming from behind, but he went forge Forge Gateway, which is an interesting. It's enough for walling off here. Getting out a first Zealot right here to probably block off the ramp, and I'm getting my core. I already have my Zealot chilling up here to block. We're going to see Omens here go for Void Rays. I think fast Void Rays, we'll see. But we see here we have our 4 gates come up, and our robotics facility should be done by the 6:15? 6:30. By the 6:30 mark, and bam, instant 1 Immortal. Obviously, I had to wait for a little bit, because I was supply blocks just uber bad. But we see here, he's going for Void Ray. Single Void Ray, really fast Starport Void Ray 2, Gateway, with some upgrades. Not too bad. But we already see, here we go, as we're actually going to slow this down. We're actually going to slow this down here. As we see here, so here, we'll actually pause this. At the 8-minute and 30-second mark, what does he have? 2 gateways, 2 zealots, a sentry, getting a 3rd gate up, 1 void ray. Okay. 4 gates, 2nd immortal coming out, 1 immortal, 5 stalkers, 1 zealot, and warping in a round of stalkers and a sentry. So this is the 8-minute 30-second mark, and we're going to push up here very soon. So we're going to play this, times 2 it. So I'm going to wait for the 2nd immortal to come up just for an additional support, which is kind of nice to have. So he has I think he's getting ready to take an expansion, but he's just kind of leaving this probe down here, making another Void Ray. So he's going to have 2 Void Rays by the time we get up here. Here we are looking at his expansion. Boom, 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 killed. Okay, force fields off this ramp, which is kind of nice. The cannon does get some. Now, looking at the cannon actually has armor. So this is an armored unit, which is pretty cool if you ask me. The fact, so all of these have armored. Immortals are super good at busting down walls, because they do all that damage against armor. So, anything with an armor kind of gets wrecked. Looking at Zealots, well, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if these are actually armored, but I think that the Immortals do super good damage against them. They do really, really good damage. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, alright, we'll keep going. So once this force field's done, and I have another supporting stalkers coming up, we're gonna rock up here, and watch how fast this cannon dies. Boom, dead. Watch how fast these gateways in this die. Super fast, because the Immortals are wrecking them. Boom, boom, boom. He's hiding his Void Rays up here, thinking that I'm not going to be able to take it out, but Void Rays, Stalker, 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 kill. Dead. Game. Kill off that, and he leaves the game. So, what's kind of interesting, actually, about this build, and the reason why I like, so one of the things that Day9 was talking about was that Zealot Immortal is actually really good. It is really good, but I like the Stalker Immortal. You're only moving out with a couple, 2 to 3 at most, and you're moving out around the 9 to 11 minute mark. Day9 did a daily about how doing just arbitrary attacks, just picking a time to attack, anywhere from the 9 to 12 minute mark, generally in there, and you make a push and you attack, and he said you will be surprised at how many times you win the game. I found that this is actually really, really true. If you push out at around 9, you move out about 8 minutes or so, set up in front, and make your initial push at 9, 10 minutes. They generally don't have enough stuff to hold off. I mean, obviously this guy wasn't going for the most optimal build in the world, because he went 2 gate into Forge and got a late core with late warp gate and then Void Rays. He was late on his build all in general, but generally this push kills off a lot of things. If they go for fast Colossus, I believe Colossus can, well, let's take a look. Let's go to my Robo Bay. Let's see here. Doesn't say anything about the Colossus. Okay, well, actually here, let's go to the help Protoss units. Colossus. 1 armor. If I'm correct. I believe these are light units. Let me check Terran. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, Colossus have one armor, 200 life, 150 shields. If you have, say, 3 Immortal rocking out, 1 Immortal shot will wreck through the shields, and then another volley of Immortals coupled with your Stalker shots will rip through their life, instantly down the Colossus if you focus them down. Going back over here, Stalkers, super good against fast air. Obviously, I'm sure he was hoping to get up a lot of Void Rays. And we're actually, in the next game we're going to look at, we're going to see how that the player, my opponent, actually ended up getting a lot more Void Rays than what this guy got, than what Omens had. But these wreck your buildings, wreck the buildings because they all have armor. These Immortals wreck Zealots. They wreck Stalkers. They wreck... Do Sentries have... I don't know. Let's take a look. Sentries have an armor. I think all of the Protoss... let's look at this. Yeah, tanks, roaches, Stalkers. Weak against Zealots, Zerglings, yeah. Well, because these guys can get in and do a lot more close range damage. So, yeah, here as we see, weak against Immortals. There's a lot of things that are weak against Immortals. So, having this build, you have a lot of counters. You have air counter, and you have your general basic units counter, ground unit counter. A lot of the one things that these are bad against is like your Zerglings, but you have a lot of Stalkers to back that up. You also have Sentries, force building stuff. All right, last game we're gonna take a look at, and then we will be done for this one. I think. Oh, actually, no. We're gonna take a look at a game where I lose, just because it's kind of interesting. Where was the one? Protoss. We'll speed through this game. We'll check and see if this is the one. I'm pretty sure it's this one, where the opponent goes mass Void Ray. He expands to the other side of the map after I kill his main base, and then he goes Void Rays. So here we go. Yeah, this is it. Uncle Joe spawning up at the top. I'm spawning up at the top right. Times 8 it. APM spam. All right, so. Sends out a scout, sends out a second scout, which is interesting. He sent out 2 scouts. He sees that I'm up there. I see that he's over here. I don't know what he's doing here, unless he's going to be building his expansion here. I don't know what he's doing. Anyways, he's going Forge first. I think he was trying to cannon rush me, but I got him out. Zealot core coming down, cool. Double gas, because double gas Immortals are kind of heavy on the gas, so it's nice to have. Pretty soon I'm going to slam down our 3 gates, and very soon after we're going to pop down our Robo Bay. Okay. Looks like the other guy, he's going double gateway, forge. He's not even opting to build a core, which is really weird and probably kind of wrong. He's getting his expansion up here with the simulator, his gas up, and looks like here he is going to throw down proxy Void Rays. We're going to see when my army is going to be moving out now at the 8-minute 20-second mark. Should be getting close to about moving out. Right here, he's starting just his pylon. We're going to actually slow this down to ×2 speed and keep going. So we see my force is actually going to be starting to move out. Waiting, I think, maybe for some more units. Yeah, more units, more Immortals, more Stalkers, and some stuff. Okay, cool. Moving along. As this pylon's finished, and now he's going to throw down 1 gateway. And 2 gateways. Or 2 stargates, sorry. 2 stargates. We're going to see my army check the watchtower. My forces aren't going to get to his front door until 10 minutes, I think. Maybe even later than that. Yeah, no, 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I'm just about knocking at his door. Alright, cool. So, I'm actually not even knocking at his door yet. I think I'm probably actually going to get up there probably at the 10 minute 30-second mark. So, these 2 stargates are done. Ready to build. He throws down a Robo Bay too, which is actually kind of interesting. But he gets these 2 stargates up. Does it say how much it doesn't tell me how much their build time is. Let's see if this thing does. Void Ray. It doesn't say how fast their build time is. Whatever. Alright, well, we're gonna keep going. Let's see here. He could be making void rays out of these while I'm knocking down his front door. But he's not. I think if he started making void rays out of these when I was knocking down his door, and boom, here we go. Here we go. Pause. Pause. There we go. I'm knocking at his door. 10:45, 10:30. He could be. Now he's just starting his first void ray. He could have gotten 2 void rays out by the time I was here, and he could have done a little bit more harass. Anyways, keep it going. See how quickly this force knocks down his door. Knocks it all down. Kills everything off really quick. Looking over here, we're gonna have more void rays just kind of chilling out. Just have an observer, random observer, just kind of interesting. Kill off the core. Kill off everything. Everything. Interesting as like I like to force field right here so those probes can run out that way, and they kind of have to engage you here. Now we just go kill everything. Third Immortal pops up around. Looking at his stuff. Still 2 void rays. This is kind of going off to check what's going on over here. Cool. I'm actually going to be scouting around for trying to find where the heck he went. We see that his observer's spotting that I don't have anything really. He's going to get 4 void rays. He's going to throw it on Gateway, Pylon. Cool. So he's got 4 void rays going off to harass. By the time I get about here, this will hit my door. Front door. Oh, crap. Okay, well, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Warping in a stalker that dies instantly. Cool. So he kind of starts to do a little bit of work on my stuff, but my guys got here in time. Cool. 4 void rays, and all of this army is just there to wreck face. Cool. I saw a shimmer. I thought he went DT, so I got an observer out real quick. It ended up being an observer. I didn't actually see what it was. But now the units... I actually have a stalker here. I didn't notice that it was there. 2 void rays. Chrono. He's getting out more. He's not really doing a whole lot. But my force comes to greet him right here at this choke. We see he's here. We're moving in. Oh, here's void rays. 4 void rays off of a depleted force, and it wrecks. And then shuts down everything. So we see here, even with this depleted force of stuff, and I couldn't make more stalkers. I actually had to make zealots to defend because I thought he had DTs, and I had an observer here chilling. But this small stalker force is enough to kill off 4 void rays. Now, had he had 8? Had he had 6, maybe I not have been able. Would not have been this strong. I would have still been able to kill this off, but still, he would have had some time to at least get some stuff up. But anyways, so we kind of see this potency with the stalker, this interesting stalker immortal kind of like lower sentry count kind of composition. Because it does have a lot of it hard counters a lot of stuff. It hard counters the ground units, stalkers, zealots, kinda, and sentries. And we see that stalkers obviously counter air, and they counter a lot of other things. They do a lot of good damage to the roaches. They do good damage to marines and marauders. These things counter marauders hard, simply put. Alright, we're gonna go and check out. I forgot this other game that I played. I forget what was here. This one, Tiga Shipyard. Let's just check this one out too. Heck, why not? We might as well go see some more ghostiness with this Immortal Stalker build. I'm trying to get it down to a refinement. I'm gonna have to study these replays and find out exactly the timings that worked out very well. So we have Sebi spawning down here. I'm spawning up here. Gonna times 8 this thing. Production tab. And obviously we scout him right away. We scout him right away and we see what he goes. He got an instigate. It's gonna chase me around a little bit. I actually just decided to scoot. skedaddle out of here. Interesting. Oh yeah, this guy goes for a fast expansion at this ramp. He goes for forge and drops cannons right here. It says we're gonna see these cannons are gonna melt in a second, but here we go. Gateway. So 3 gate with the core chrono boosting out the warp gate. Just another pylon, 3 gates, and the robo comes down. 4th gate, done. Cool. Alright, some morphing in. Immortal instantly coming out. We have the money to do so. We have a lot of gas. We're gonna find that this gas, when we make our sentries, will drop. And so, actually, coming back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show, Day 9 saying that the biggest problem was not being able to, or always producing off of these 4 gateways. And as we see, and then always having this immortal stuff coming up. As we can see, if we want to go with the Stalker build, even say with the Sentry build, if we're always making gateway units, we're not going to have enough to get the Immortals. Which that it makes sense. You're not going to have enough gas if you make a lot of sentries, because they're very heavy on gas, 100 gas. You make a lot of stalkers or zealots, you run out of minerals. Obviously here, we're making a lot of stalkers, we're running out of minerals. Immortals, 250 minerals, 100 gas. So it's pretty much 2 stalkers is 1 immortal. The more that we make stalkers, the less we can make immortals. But what we find is, generally 2, maybe 3 immortals are enough to wreck face. We're going to keep going. We're going to unpause this and slow it down some. ×2 speed. This guy is not really doing much. So here I think we actually only have 2. We're going to grab a 3rd, I think, immortal. Yep, 3rd immortal coming out. I'm going to break these rocks for potential counterattack paths for myself. Surrounding paths. Boom. Boom. We see how quickly, look at how quick these things go down. 3 armor, and look at how fast did they fall. These rocks fell quick. This is a lot of units here. So, I'm going to keep rocking out. And so, we're going to actually see, he's got a lot of cannons here. I throw down this pylon, all the cannons, 4 cannons at the front here. 2 zealots, 2 stalkers. These 2 are patrolling. One thing I find a lot is that a lot of people, I'm in the bronze league, placing up into silver, and I've been playing a lot more silver players lately. I'm finding that the silver league players are putting cannons, so many cannons for defense, and they're just kind of shirking out on the units. And interestingly enough, 5 Stargate. Here was his problem. He saw that there was a thing here. I was going to throw on a pylon, so he kind of should have expected there's something at his front door. Okay. First of all, warp gate's not done. Not at all. Only 1 gateway. And a forge. With 4 cannons for defense, which will die very quickly. 150 HP, 3 and 150 shields. These will die in 2 shots from 3 immortals. What this player should have done was, instead of doing Gateway, Forge, Cybercore, was to skip out on this altogether and just go for faster units. As you see, he's going to throw it on a 2nd core to get upgrades, because he's going 5 Stargate Void Rays. But what he should have done if he wants to go Void Rays is just go 2 gate, expand, get some defensive units up, because obviously you should definitely have a lot more units. At the 10, 30 mark, you have more than 4 units. And throw down 2 gateways and get Void Rays, or a gateway and get Void Rays. You'll have and then you can throw your forge down too, and get your cannons. But he should probably have some more defensive units. Anyways, we're gonna keep going and see as we poke up here. Actually, here, we're gonna actually quickly, I wonder if I get a warp. Do I warp in one more? Yeah, I do one more additional warp in. Okay, pause. Units tab. 11, 3, and 3, and 1 zealot. Only 21 probes. This is not a big force. I mean, this is obviously a smaller force, but this is not a big force. This makes it, the Immortals make it bigger than it actually seems, because they're very strong. So we're gonna keep looking here, and these 4 just melt away. Zealots melt away very quickly. Boom, boom, dead, dead, boom. And before we know it, in a matter of seconds, all of these cannons are dead, and he's left with nothing. He's getting his Void Rays, Chrono boosting out his stuff. We're just gonna go kill off this expansion. Expansion's dead. Units force field the ramp so none of his probes can get up. Kill off his stuff. Okay, cool. 4th Immortal and more stuff. Wrecks that. Alright, so as we see here, 4 Void Rays freshly popped, and only 4 here at the front, 4 Stalkers here at the front. Keep going. And we will see how quickly these things dissipate. They're gonna die very quickly. 5 Void Rays, more Void Rays coming out, more Void Rays coming out, more Void Rays coming out, and dead. Killing him off. And as we can see, he's gonna leave the game right now. Okay. So, and I actually, how many units, what did we say? It was 11, 3, and 3 Sentries, and I have no Sentries, 9 Stalkers, and 4 Immortals and 1 Zealot. So kind of still an even, not really losing very much, not even really gaining very much. But we see the potency of this build. Again, here we go, 12. This push, if we're gonna come back, we'll come back here. Here, I can go back even farther. 8-minute mark. Where were we? 8-minute mark. We were kind of starting to move up. Go up to 9-minute mark. Where were we? We were in the middle of the map here. Again, this coincides with this idea of pushing at the 9 to 10, 11, 12-minute mark. So we're gonna see this pylon's gonna go down. We're actually speed it up. Going down, going down, going down, going down, killing things. Okay. Pylon's gonna go down at 10 minutes or so. Yeah, 10:15. Pylon goes down. This is a little bit of a later push, which is actually still okay. It's still within the range, but we're pushing up at the 12, 11. So we're really up here at the 11-minute mark. If we pushed up any sooner, these Void Rays that he made would not have been done. We would have actually had an easier win. But just again, along with that idea that you can win by pushing out at that range, and a lot of my games actually end very quickly at this point. Seeing the Void Rays, taking them out, dead. Don't go for this. Simply put, unless you're definitely sure that you're safe, don't go for the double Cybercore. That's all I can say. Do not do this. I mean, I know the double Forge thing is always a very popular thing to get really fast upgrades. If you're gonna do this, don't do 5 Stargate. Do 2 Stargate or a Stargate, and then do this. Because you have money, you can get you actually get your upgrades, and you can be making Void Rays. His macro wasn't very good, but you only want to really do these double upgrades if you know for sure that you're safe. If you know for sure that we just held off an attack and now he's weakened, we're weakened, but we're macroing up and we're gonna go for a long-term game. Then you can get your double upgrades for sure. But not when we just engaged and killed off your expansion. He actually could have even canceled this when I pushed up here. So, word of the wise, don't go for double upgrades unless you know you're going to be able to be safe about it. And definitely don't go 5 Stargate on 2 base if you haven't really scouted your opponent's stuff. He didn't do any pushes or anything. He knew where I was, but he didn't do any pushes or nothing to where I was at, nothing. Okay. So, word of the wise, but we see here 4 Gateway, 1 Immortal, or 1 Robo Immortal's really good. I want to experiment with doing a 3 gateway 2 robo immortal push, seeing how that works as well. And we're gonna go to this last game against a Terran player, and we're gonna see that I lose miserably. Well, not really miserably. Well, yeah, I ended up losing pretty bad. But there's a lot of trading going on. He goes for a fast marine tank kind of play. So take a shipyard ammo down here in the bottom. He's up in the top. Times 8 and production tab. Alright. So obviously pylon always on 9, super good to do. And he got his barracks up really quickly. I think he got his... Yeah, he gets his barracks up and I get my gateway up. It's actually about the same time. They finish actually literally milliseconds within each other. He gets his orbital, I get my cybercore. Cool. He goes a fast factory with a couple marines. I think here I do 2 gateway into a third, or 3 gateway into a robo into a 4th gate, I think. Yeah, 3. He's going a double factory, big tank play, lots of marines. Cool. He's gonna do an early push and see what's coming. I think he's only in 2nd gateway, 2 tanks. Yeah, so this is actually a reasonably sized push. Our 4 gates are up, and our Immortals are... We're actually going to come and sit down here, because we're going to get ready to move out in a second. As we see here, this force is actually going to kill off a lot of our stuff. We're going to chase it down. We're going to be pulling back, moving up. Now in here, he's macroing up, and he's got tanks. He's got siege mode already done. He should be sieging up here, but my putting on a pylon, moving around 2. So we're going to pause this actually and go down speed a little bit. So we see a consistency in this build. We have a lot of Stalkers, 2 Immortals, and a couple Sentries. And keep going up. He obviously, I think he spots this coming up. But we move up here, instantly siege it up, which is smart. But we go to kill off these. These tanks just wreak havoc on us. They murder us. So this, we probably should have pulled back here. Warping in some Stalkers. Another Immortals coming down. And actually what we should have done was just pulled back and waited, because we didn't have enough of an optimal force. This was a misstep on our part. Drops coming up around. It's going to do some damage into our mineral line, which is actually going to really wreck a lot of our economy. As it gets here, though, this Immortal pops. Fortunately enough, and we're able to use it to do some damage. To defend this up a little bit. Got another Immortal coming out. So yeah, he does a lot of damage to our economy. He wrecks it pretty hard. As we can see here, Immortal, this little drop isn't going to be enough to do anything. We kind of get rid of this medevac. We kind of have a bigger force here, but only 1 Immortal. We really would like to have a couple, 2 to 3, maybe even 4 Immortals in this force, ready to go. So you see we wrecked this ground force, which we right here should have pulled back, but we have tanks here. Woohoo, tanks. And we're actually able to take out almost 2 tanks. Immortal's going to come up actually and wreck a tank and almost kill the 3rd tank. So we're whittling down his tank count, which is good. But we're just going to see here that he's going to go with a really quick Marine Marauder medevac push that'll kill us off. Obviously, he's done massive damage to our economy. We probably shouldn't have expanded. Should have just remade our workers. And invested our money in units. Dana, I was talking today about if you see him going to 111, to stop with probes and make as much units. Same thing. This isn't the 111. This is a pretty close composition to the 111. Marines, tanks, and no medevacs instead of banshees. This is pretty potent still. We probably gotten up more units. Just saying. And see, we're low on money. Too low on money. We actually should have had more. Taking this expansion was probably the worst idea. Now, if we had more units, we actually would have definitely been able to hold this off. This is only 2 tanks here. We definitely would have been able to steamroll over this force. And we get murdered, and GG from me. I actually, yeah, 130, we really didn't have a lot of money. We probably could have made some sentries to try and hold this off some, but not really. Yeah. He had, what do you have, marine shields. That's it. Alright, so yeah, we see the flaws in my play, but I think had we actually executed this build a little bit better, I think this probably would have won. This probably could have won. I think if instead of, once we killed off this front force, pulled back, reinforced, and then pushed up again, we would have been able to do some significantly more damage. We probably would have won. Again, we see this potency of this build, and how bad that it wrecks things. So, go out and try it. This is actually a really fun build to do. And yeah, so I appreciate y'all watching the show. YouTube account's actually finally up, and I'm going to start uploading all these videos to YouTube's. So, check that out. It's youtube.com/thatgameshow. Thanks for watching, everybody.